A writer, a photographer, on the road exploring a fascinating world in a state of perpetual motion, constantly departing while always arriving, seeking a window into an ever-changing universe. This is WION Traveller. When Delhi's smog descends on the city, there's only one way to escape its noxious fumes. Ascend like your life depends on it. Meraj and I ran for our lives last weekend, found the closest mountains and started climbing. Up we went to Kassar, a pretty suburb of Ramgarh in Uttarakhand, where the sun still shines, the skies are still blue and the stars still come out at night. Here we followed in the footsteps of Rabindranath Tagore, who more than a century back built a house in the middle of a forest. Not content with beating the smog, we decided to head to remoter territory. We entered a pristine wildlife reserve, where the big cats still outnumber humans and where the electricity grid hasn't yet spanned across an ancient oak forest. Here we've checked into a 150-year-old mansion that lies hidden in a corner of the sanctuary. A luxury homestay that predates the establishment of the sanctuary. Marybudden's estate has all of 2 cottages that would seem right at home in England as they do in Binsar. Creepers line the stone facade, while wooden slat flooring and fireplaces in the rooms create a positively old-world charm at this estate that was built in the 19th century. Cut off from the digital world and mobile networks, Meraj and I have rediscovered simple, lost joys. Enjoying a languorous meal and listening to a poet recite a heartfelt eulogy in the prettiest supper theater setting you can imagine. Pondering on relationships and the price our roving life exacts, we're now in a virtually inaccessible part of the Binsar forest, and so far away from the cares of the world that Delhi smog seems like a distant nightmare.
The notion of a brunch lends itself rather well to an al fresco setting. And since neither Johan nor I had the gumption to drag ourselves out of bed for breakfast, we've surfaced just in time for a lazy meal laid out in a meadow, if you please. Just as well because this traditionally Kumaoni feast deserves 2 seriously hungry souls. Even though I've travelled a great deal in these parts, I can't say I've eaten everything on this table before. What a treat!
नमस्ते जी, नमस्ते जी। मेरा नाम गोविंद है। आज हमने आपके लिए कुमाऊनी खाना बनाया हुआ है।
क्या बात कर रहे हैं?
ये कुमाऊनी लौकी है, इसको हम लोग मलाई लौकी बोलते हैं। अच्छा। और ये एक कद्दू की बेल होती है।
कद्दू की बेल
काफी पौष्टिक आहार है ये।
इसको you can just nod intelligently, I'll explain to you later.
ठीक है जी।
ओके।
ये भी यहाँ पे बहुत कुमाऊं में बहुत बनाई जाती है।
कद्दू की बेल। ये क्या है भाई?
ये है जी मूली का थेचुआ बोलते हैं इसको।
मूली का
थेचुआ।
थेचुआ
जी, ये कुमाऊं में बनता है।
राडिश।
और ये भटके डुबके हैं।
भटके डुबके?
डुबके जी, ये कुमाऊनी फेमस डिश है।
क्या दाल टाइप लग रही है?
दाल टाइप की, हाँ जी।
अच्छा अच्छा।
और ये राइस है।
ये चलिए तो समझ गए।
और ये गोविंद जी,
ये मडुए की रोटी है।
मडुए की रोटी।
हाँ,
मडुआ is what means?
finger millet.
Finger millet?
Yes.
I know millet. I didn't know finger millet. Do you know
There's
what
many
रागी
kinds
भी
of
बोलते हैं,
millet.
अच्छा रागी।
हाँ जी।
हाँ अच्छा अच्छा वाह।
और इसको ये घी और गुड़ के साथ खाया जाता है।
अच्छा।
The rotis.
और ये यहाँ की भांग की चटनी है।
अच्छा ये भांग की चटनी है।
हाँ जी।
पुदीना भी डला है इसमें तो? पुदीना भी है इसमें? चलिए कोई बात नहीं, पुदीना ना भी हो तो भी चलेगा।
हाँ जी, हाँ जी।
वाह वाह। हाँ
तो आप खाइए,
धन्यवाद।
कुमाऊनी खाने का आनंद लीजिए।
धन्यवाद आपका।
ठीक है जी।
धन्यवाद। चलो जी, bon appetit, bon
Let's
appetit।
eat.
I think I'm going to try that roti.
Yes.
Yeah,
of course.
definitely.
With the gur. Thank you.
With the ghee and the gur together.
So it's
yes.
with amaranth, the grain in those ones, huh?
I don't know.
no, this is not amaranth.
I don't know the
it's
fancy
finger
name.
Thank
Would
you.
you like one as well?
millet. Yes, please. Thank you.
There you go. Oops. Whoopsie daisy.
Now, where do we start with all of these?
Wow, wow.
Yeah, I think you can start with the vegetables.
Okay, so this is butter, isn't it?
This is ghee.
Oh, it's ghee.
clarified
It goes on the roti.
Yes.
Hallelujah.
And if you want to start sweet, then you can put some gur on top of it.
I would like to try it with gur for sure. So this gur has been melted or what? Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that?
That is good, bro. I don't know what it's called.
Jaggery.
Jaggery, of course,
Oh.
jaggery.
It's melted.
All right,
jaggery.
Bon appetit. I'm not going to wait for anybody. I am famished.
Please go ahead.
India is such a vegetarian's paradise. Just the sheer variety of veggies and preparations is remarkable. I'm sure this food was nutritious, but it was also one heck of a spread. I think if you eat this kind of food, then you need to walk like the locals do. I don't think you can eat this food and then sit at a desk all day. Just as well.
Most of our vegetables we grow ourselves. So.
Oh, there you go.
This is pumpkin, but it doesn't. It's green in color. It's not the pumpkin.
Leaves and stem. So the vine. That we
Okay.
Yeah. And flowers.
I didn't know that was
know-
used.
Sugandha, my editor gets really with me. He's like, when you're eating, I'm glad you're enjoying the food, but don't make these noises. Because I'm going, don't make these noises. It's television. Sure, excellent
Yeah.
food.
Water?
I'm okay.
You're okay?
Thank you, yeah.
You sure?
So you were saying something about Kassar earlier.
Yeah, would you guys like to go for a drive to Kassar?
Yeah, definitely. It's not
It's a
very far
short
from
drive.
here.
It's a fairly short drive, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
So Johan and I went to Kassar. Has it been 2 years, Johan, was it?
Yeah, it's about
When
2
we
years,
started
huh?
off. It was one of the first places
Oh,
we
okay.
hit. And we met some real characters there.
I'm sure you did.
Straddling a ridge with sweeping views of the upper Himalayas to the north and the plains to the south, Kasar Devi's small size belies its significance in pop culture. Crank's Ridge, as it was known in the mid-20th century, for its penchant of attracting a cross-section of writers, artists and spiritual seekers, Kasar Devi has played host to the likes of beatniks like Allen Ginsberg, Timothy Leary, Tibetologist Robert Thurman, who came here with his young daughter Uma, who we all know today as the big Hollywood star. Then there were writers like Tagore and D.H. Lawrence and John Steinbeck, musicians like Cat Stevens and Bob Dylan. All these people made their way to this extraordinary place back in the day. And now, Johan and I have joined this illustrious list.
While it's no longer hippie central, there's a new cafe in town that draws on Kassar's legacy of the flower generation of the 1960s. That's our first stop for a cuppa. Along the way, Sugandha tells me the extraordinary story of a local village girl who's opened the Himalayan hippie cafe. What makes Charu's story remarkable is that she was born and brought up in a village near Kassar. While Kumaon certainly seems more progressive than some parts of India, it still seems to me quite an achievement for a village girl to open up her own cafe and live on her own terms. Charu is also a painter, and this cute little cafe perched on the northern side of the Kasar Devi ridge is liberally embellished with her work. There are sketches, watercolors, and even what look like charcoal drawings. There's a great view of the snow peaks and a decidedly 1960s feel. It's almost a stereotype, but obviously there's something about the hippie vibe that exudes love for the environment, for people, for animals. There are 2 resident dogs, and there's a guy sitting in the porch recycling plastic bottles to create a funnel for diverting rainwater to a tank. So you're from Kassar
I'm from Kasar Devi village mart.
Yeah, your family also, your
Yeah.
dad and everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have they met any one of these crazy hippies that have been here?
Yeah, my
many
grandfather
decades?
made that time all famous hippies who come here.
Yeah.
So Bob Dylan and
Really? Charu's connection with this time and Kassar's past has personal history. Apparently her grandfather met Bob Dylan when the singer was here in the last century. It's quite amazing how people we meet and interact with affect the course of our lives. I mean, would Dylan have ever realized that a few decades later, the granddaughter of a man he met in the hills of India would draw upon that tenuous connection and open a cafe inspired by it? What a story. Which instruments do you play?
I play cajon, kartal, little bit, and my father have tapli. I don't know its English name.
But kartal, you mentioned kartal.
Yeah.
This one I'm familiar with that one. What is kartal?
Kartal is a 4 wood sticks.
4
And
woods.
it's
a
I
percussion
think
instrument.
Jaipuri or Rajasthani instrument.
Yeah?
So
How-
Jamaican
How do you
guy.
play these?
One Jamaican guy come
Yeah.
here, so they live many years there. So they do work his friend.
Yeah.
So they teach me how to play, how to make this
Yeah.
and
How does it
kartal.
sound when you play these?
Yeah,
Can you
just
show me?
yeah, I'll show you. You just grab one stick like that in your two hands and then two fingers down and
What? Oh, that's so cool. I've never seen that
Like
before.
that.
Can you
Yeah.
show me how to hold these?
yeah.
So one upper,
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah, tight
one
and
like that,
yeah, tick.
and then
It's a little bit tough starting.
I don't know. I don't
Mix
think I
it.
can even hold it.
Yeah. Just starting. So it's a little bit tough.
All right, you made it look a lot easier than I can make it look.
Yeah, look like that. It's starting like that.
I can't do it. All right.
Yeah, it's starting.
I don't know if that's even qualified as a start. Well, yeah. Should we head out?
Yeah, let's do that, man.
All right. Well, thank you so much for letting me know about your wonderful cafe and some of your artwork.
Yeah.
I'll come back next time I'm in town, and
Wow.
maybe I'll bring a painting for you. The mornings in Binsar are breathtaking. The valleys around the forest like candy cones. Twirl with vanilla ice cream before dawn. It happens like clockwork every morning, and you can spend lazy AM hours doing nothing but gazing at this spectacle. We're roused from a reverie by Sugandha, who insists that we make it for an early breakfast.
Yeah.
Oh,
should let you
famished.
move in.
Famished.
So we've grown, most of the things that you're eating today have been grown here. There's
Rice.
some lettuce and pine nut salad, garlic
Pine
bread.
nuts also from
Oh,
Yes,
the pine
they're
nuts.
also from
Wow.
here, and we've made garlic bread from scratch here. And there's quiche and there's some stir-fry vegetables.
Well, that's very neat.
Yeah.
I take it you have insects here in the
Yes,
forest.
plenty. You've got all kinds of creepy crawlies.
You do, huh? What about, you have some scorpions?
Yes.
हाँ बिल्कुल
Yes,
बिल्कुल नेकी और पूछ आइए
Yeah, we've got scorpions, we've got very, very scary looking spiders.
the big guys.
Yes, the big guys.
Oh, so anybody who has arachnophobia
Yes.
has had
Should
it.
not be in the mountains.
Should not be in the mountains. Yeah.
Yeah. Pine nuts, yeah.
क्या बात है
Yeah.
बहुत बढ़िया
And
धन्यवाद
Johan, no, we don't make our own feta cheese. Yeah, I wish we could, but we don't. Yeah. Yeah. So you guys have to eat up
All right.
because we're going for a walk after this, and let's see how challenging we can make it for you.
a walk
Need to be full
A
of energy
walk,
for it.
which
a
is
walk
why
along the
I
promenade or something
in your dreams, maybe.
but seriously we're going into the forest are we?
Yes, we are.
And
yeah.
like so Binsar, so I'm not even completely sure about what the distinctions are between say a reserve or a sanctuary or a
National park.
yeah, so people don't actually come to Binsar to spot wildlife, do they? It's actually genuinely for the animals.
Well, not wildlife as much as birding.
As
because-
birding.
Yes.
I see. Is it a bird sanctuary?
It's not just a bird sanctuary.
Right.
That's a misconception people have because they think
Right.
that, okay, if there's birds, then it's just birding sanctuary. Thank you. But it's not. It's also got a lot of wildlife. We've got about 20 leopards in the sanctuary area. And
Wow.
yeah.
I mean, there's been a census.
Yes.
Oh,
Yes, there's a count.
20?
Yes, about 20 leopards. And there is a lot of wildlife, but there are 150 different species of birds here.
Oh boy.
So, yeah, I wouldn't call it just a birding sanctuary, but yes, birders and mostly people who just want time off, who want to relax, city people with busy lives. They're the ones who like to come here.
But I mean, there are not really that many places to stay inside the sanctuary. But people come and roam the sanctuary and go
Yeah,
back.
you can also just come for a
Ah.
day trip. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, lovely.
And what's really special about Binsar is that most national parks have safaris,
Right.
jeep safaris,
Right.
but this is the only sanctuary that I know of where you can actually walk.
Walk.
There are no jeep safaris.
They usually don't allow that.
Yeah, but that's because we don't have, besides the leopard, we don't have elephants, we've not
Ah,
got tigers, so it's a
right.
very safe sanctuary.
Bon appetit.
Bon appetit.
Wow.
For a walk within the safe sanctuary. Safe sanctuary. There's a word for that. When you basically
Safe haven.
no, a safe sanctuary is basically repeating yourself, right? Because sanctuary is supposed to be a safe haven.
Yeah, that's true.
What's the word? Do you know?
Yeah.
No, I don't either.
Is it yummy?
Don't you hate it when you don't remember words? Oh.
Sugandha says that while she understands the respite our tired urban souls need, there really is no plausible excuse for not exploring Binsar forest on foot. Hard to argue with that, especially since the forest lies literally outside Maribudden Estate's gate. Sugandha tells us that these trails are not really man-made, but rather animal trails that are also used by humans. Pretty sure she's saying that to unnerve us, but I act amused.
So this way down we head to the temple, but this side of the forest is known as Satkol.
Okay.
And Satkol.
That's cold.
Yeah. And Binsar used to be, it's always been known as a very ancient mystical forest.
Right.
So Satkol is the part of the forest where they still believe that the local gods and goddesses live, and where a lot of yogis have attained their samadhi here.
Oh.
Wow.
So, and it is quite scary at night.
I can imagine.
And extremely mystical, and we rarely ever go into this part of the forest.
So you've never been in there? You have?
I have a few times.
But
it's
like,
quite eerie.
well, there is a bit of a path leading down there.
Yeah, no, it just ends here.
Oh, it ends
There's
there.
other ways to get into this forest.
And this is a large part of the forest?
It's a huge part of the core area of the
I
sanctuary.
would think that probably the big cats and all are all there.
Yeah.
Because
Especially in the summer, because it's much cooler there.
and the most undisturbed.
Yes.
No temples or anything in there?
Nothing. There's nothing in there. Nothing at all.
Only like friendly jinns and things like that.
We hope.
Yeah.
The core area of the park, huh?
Satkol, okay.
And it's always really dark.
Huh? It's always really dark.
Really
Well,
dark.
it is extremely dense foliage, right? I'm just, yeah, but
You can go and explore it later tonight if you want.
I might just do that, you know. I mean, considering I have no fear of the dark.
What about the cats?
Yeah, the
You can
cats.
see some leopards.
Yeah.
But they're hard to see in the jungle compared to if it's a more
Yeah,
open
very well
area.
camouflaged. I mean, there could be one right here and we wouldn't know.
Chalo.
Mirage is obviously pretending here. I'm not disappointed we're not going in that part of the forest. I'm a yogi, but it's not time for samadhi yet. Binsar spreads over 50 square kilometers, which is small by sanctuary standards. But it's almost entirely comprised of old oak trees, which are known to support a high diversity of flora and fauna. The path is littered with leaves that eventually decompose and provide sustenance to undergrowth and shrubbery, as well as give cover to animal life. This forest is properly teeming with life. There's even a perennial mountain spring that's been the primary source of mineral water in the sanctuary. This structure was built back in 1902. Sugandha says that for the first time, the flow of water has begun to ebb in the summer months.
Now since 1902,
Wow.
it's a creek. It's full of water right now. It's not dirty water. This is drinkable.
Really?
You cook with it.
Potable water, huh?
Yes, this is potable.
Drinkable water?
Yes.
What does the Nola mean?
So a Nola is essentially like a spring.
Ah, I see, okay.
And this is the point where all the water collects.
How, was it stone or was it mud?
This is mud, but obviously it broke. So someone has just engaged it here.
But that's too sad, yeah? Isn't it? So that's the end of that. This is not going to last. Oh dear, it lasted till
For a long time.
for a long time. As mud goes.
But where does the spring originate?
Within the ground usually.
Satkol forest that you were talking
Oh, the
about.
same, the heart of the jungle.
Yes.
Also, is it holy water?
No.
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 Okay.
It has any magical medicinal properties.
Well, I hope so.
Because I drink it.
Mineral water. It doesn't look grand or anything, but this old temple is extremely significant to locals. In Kumaun, most villages have local deities that are given primary importance in rites. The belief at this temple, dedicated to Golu Devta, is that you can ask for a wish as long as you promise something in return, if your wish is fulfilled.
Wow. Nice. Hello. Namaskar. कैसे हैं?
जय हो जय हो
जय हो. Ram ram. Nice.
नमस्कार नमस्कार
नमस्कार.
क्या हो रहा है भाई लोग? ये आप लोगों का हर शाम को ये मनोरंजन प्रोग्राम है?
ये हमारी टीम है और यहाँ क्योंकि हम जंगल में रहते हैं
जी.
so it can get a bit boring.
I'm sure.
So they are all self-trained musicians.
Fantastic. Is there any other kind?
In true mountain fashion, we join the staff at Mary Budden, who are huddled around a bonfire. Living in this isolated spot with a premium on electricity, the people who work here have stuck to their age-old traditions of singing folk songs and recounting stories for entertainment. As the night wears on, we all join in the singing.
देवी देवारूनी पहाड़ में हिमालय वहाँ पर देवी देवता लोग रहते हैं, इसलिए इसको देवभूमि को नहीं, मतलब यहाँ इसलिए इसको देवभूमि कहते हैं.
चलिए ठीक है
ये
सुनाइए.
वाला गाना सुनाइए.
सुनाइए फिर.
ठंडो पानी सुनी कैसी मीठी वाणी, पहाड़ ठंडो पानी सुनी कैसी मीठी वाणी, सुनने नीला गई हाय हाय, सुनने नीला गई. पमासत हरिया भरिया पानी के बधारा, किसमें तुम्हारी जजा फूलों की बहारा, किसमें तुम्हारी जजा फूलों की बहारा. जन्मभूमि छोड़ी तेरा जाने दिला है नीरानी, जन्मभूमि छोड़ी तेरा जाने दिला है नीरानी, जाने दिला है नी हाय.
Meraj doesn't know the songs, and I don't even understand the language, but that's hardly a deterrent.
पहाड़ ठंडो पानी सोनी कैसी मीठी वाणी, पहाड़ ठंडो पानी सोनी कैसी मीठी वाणी, सोने नीला गैनी हाय हाय, सोने नीला गैनी.
Off the grid! The term literally means a lack of connectivity to the electricity grid. Add to that an absence of mobile networks and piped water supply, and you have a remarkable alienation virtually unheard of in these times. Here in a small clearing facing the magnificent Trishul peak of the upper Himalayas and surrounded by more leopards than humans, we found a family living a life completely sequestered not just from the trappings of urban city life, but disconnected from the digital age and the internet. Find out what their lives are like next week on WION Traveller.